Shall we start the class? Okay, so how many of you completed GS foundation course? Anyone? Please raise your hands. No one. Everyone here are freshers. Okay, so who are taking ongoing foundation course? How many students are having this ongoing foundation course? Please raise your hands. Who are taking coaching now? Apart from our academy, others, outsiders, who are ongoing, who are taking coaching now? No one. Everyone, are you preparing on yourself? How many of you are preparing on yourself? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So how many of you know about anthropology? Or how many of your fresh minds wants to know about anthropology? Fresh minds. So first of all, raise your hands who are fresh minds. 90%. So how many of you already have the knowledge of anthropology? How many of you? Raise your hands. At least. Udaysri, you know. Okay. So why you guys want to choose anthropology as optional? So what do you know about this anthropology? Scoring. Okay. Next. Huh? Interesting. Okay, I'll write one by one. So first one is scoring. Next. Okay, easy in sense. What is the meaning of easy here? Regarding what? It is manageable. Are you talking about syllabus or concepts? Syllabus. Okay. Syllabus is manageable. Next. Is static and concise. Next. Toppers. Okay. Toppers mostly choose this optional. Next. Okay, you have mentors. Next. Direct questions. Okay. So how many of you saw this previous questions? Anyone? PYQs. Syllabus. Okay, no one. Okay, direct questions. Next. Okay, you have faculty and coaching available. Next. Come on. So that I can understand where are you, from there we'll start. So first of all, I want to know my students. Then only I can proceed. Like, where are you? From where I should start? Because I am a doctor, so I can deal with each and every concept very, very clearly, especially physical anthropology. You will be not having any doubt for sure. So that's what I want to know about you, so that I can make you clear about the concepts and I can do justice, or else I can't do justice. Tell me other ideas why you want to choose this anthropology. Come on. My sessions will be interactive sessions only. Mostly, 90%. Come on, tell me. Overlapping with your GS? So how you know there is overlapping? Have you seen the syllabus? Then how do you know? Okay, many toppers said that there is some overlapping. Okay. So we are dealing with anthropology, right? So what is meaning of anthropology? So anthro is related to humans and logy is related to study. It is nothing but studying of human. Right. So anthropology is nothing but studying of humans from time to space. That means nothing but we are studying about humans and their behavior and as well as society from present to past. So in this anthropology, what we do is we are going to study about human. That is nothing but evolution of human. And next one is behavior of human. How they are behaving with their family, with society, with everyone. And next one is we'll be studying about group of humans. That is nothing but their society. Together from present. And we go to past. That means we are only studying about the static. Okay, we are not going to think about current affairs here. So it is mostly static. Okay, so here anthropology is not a new term. For example, you know doctor. What doctor does? If you go to any doctor, what they do? Okay, what they do? A treatment. That means they will be studying about how your body is functioning and what is abnormality you're having in your body, and they will give you the treatment, right? So doctor is also an anthropologist, whether he is dealing with human or not. Yes, right? If you take economist, what economist does? What is economy? It includes production of goods, services, distribution, everything, right? So is that related to humans or not? Are we discussing about economy of dogs or economy of goats or economy of tigers? No, right? We are discussing about economy of humans. That means economy is also subject which is related to humans. So an economist is also an anthropologist. Okay, for example, you take public administrator. That means future IAS officers like you, right? So what you'll do, you'll solve the problems of people. Why government is recruiting you? To solve the problems of people. That means you're also dealing with humans and human societies, human problems. That means you're also future anthropologist. So actually anthropology, it is not at all a new subject. What we see in our society, we'll be studying about that. But this word anthropology is new. This word is new. But what are the concepts which are there in this anthropology? They are not new. They are already somewhere or other way, we already connected with that in our society. Okay. And now whenever you're choosing any optional, you have to take certain criteria. So earlier you said that whether it is scoring or not, we have to see. So what is the optional marks which will be added to your mains? Okay. So do you know about your mains, right? So we have essay, we have GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, apart from that optional. So in optional you have again two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. And apart from that you will be having compulsory language papers. So one will be English and one will be your regional language. So that is just qualifying, so that we will be not at all bothering about that compulsory language papers. But remember guys, so there are 4 papers in your GS that will decide your marks, that will decide your rank and your cadre. So those 4 are, first one is your essay. And second one is your ethics, that is GS4. And third one is your optional paper 1. And fourth one is optional paper 2. So these are the 4 papers. And you know, have you seen this 2024 topper list, especially mark list? Have you gone through this? How many marks they will be getting in the mains? Any idea? That is including interview marks. I am asking like how many marks they'll get only in the mains, excluding this interview marks. 846 is a top. So you know, in your UPSC, each and every paper carries how many marks? 250. That means these 4 papers, what is the weightage? 1000 marks, right? So if you're perfect in these 4 papers, can you clear your examination or not? But here you have to get minimum marks in your GS1, GS2 and GS3. And do you know how many subjects will be there in your GS1? Or what are there? Geography, history, society. These are the 3 subjects. And what about your GS paper 2? Polity, governance, IR and social justice. And in GS paper 3, it is very, very lengthy. And if you see the mark list, so no one had crossed 100 in this GS paper 3. It is very difficult. So how many subjects we have? 5 subjects, that is economy, S&T, internal security, disaster management, environment and ecology. So these are 5 subjects which are there in GS3. So is it easy to prepare these 4 papers or those 3 papers? Which is lengthy? If you see this subject itself, Are you getting a feel that these are very lengthy and it will be consuming much time? Yes, and even after completing everything, you will be getting 80 to an average 100. But here in essay, what is the top score? It can be more than 150 also. Yes, 150. And what about ethics? You can score more than 140 and you can reach even 160 based on your case studies, examples, everything. And in this optional, especially in anthropology, till now the top marks is 362. 362. So here, if you read all these 5 subjects, you have a scope of getting 90. 90 to 95 is the maximum score in GS3. So if you are preparing these 4 and if you have good command on these 4 areas, obviously there is a very high chance of clearing mains. But many students, they will ignore this essay, and even optional. So because of this, choosing a right optional is very, very important for clearing this examination. And how many of you are aiming for IAS or IPS? How many of you are aiming for only IAS or IPS? Only IAS or IPS? You want only these services. I don't want any other departmental services. How many of you? Then option is very important, right? So you have to select any optional which is having these things. That is, we need to have a very limited syllabus. Syllabus should be limited and syllabus should be clearly defined in your syllabus. Okay? So what are the subtopics which are there in your syllabus? That should be given in detail, or else we don't know from where the question will be asked. So here, anthropology meets this criteria, that is limited syllabus. In paper 1, we have only 12 chapters. In paper 2, just 9 chapters. And in that also, they clearly defined what are the subtopics which are there. So this is the one advantage of anthropology. And this one is, static. It is completely static. And have you heard this optional sociology? How many of you heard this? It is about studying of society. So actually there is some common points regarding this anthropology and sociology. So here in anthropology, we'll be studying about only static thing till this point. And if you want to include dynamic thing, that is called as sociology. Okay. Sociology deals with the dynamic part where anthropology stops. It is a continuation. That continuation is called as sociology. Okay, and only static part we will be studying here is anthropology. So when you complete your syllabus and if you start making your notes, diagrams, flow charts, examples, case studies, once it is done, there is no need of updation. So only 2 reports will be there. You have to refer that 2 reports. One will be Zaza committee report for your paper 2, and second one is we have Ministry of Tribal Affairs, right? You know about this ministry, right? So how many ministries we have in our central government present? There are 59 ministries. In that, one ministry is dealing with only tribal people in our country. So whatever the schemes, whatever the developmental activities, policies which are come up by the government, it will be releasing every year one report. So just you have to see that report. This will be the add-on. Okay? And unless and until, apart from these 2, most of the things are static. So if you make your notes ready and if you write your PYQs of last 5 years, then your preparation is done. There is no need of giving that much efforts in this anthropology case. Okay, and next one is, it is very easy. For sure, it is very easy compared to that of PSIR or public administration or any other optional. It is very, very easy. And one more thing here is, in the class itself, you can remember and you can recall each and every concept. It is my promise for sure. Because whenever I start the class, first 10 to 15 minutes will be the revision of previous day's class. And at last, 10 minutes will be the revision of that class. So on average, we will be doing revision in this class itself. And every day we will be having answer writing practice, so that how many of you started answer writing? Apart from our foundation batch, they'll write, but outsiders, how many of you started writing answers? One, two, only two. So for sure, you will be learning answer writing here. Not only anthropology, even GS, because we have overlapping of GS here. I'll tell how the overlapping is there. And if you start learning answer writing of this anthropology, you will learn obviously GS. Okay, and next one here is, yes, it is of course scoring. And I want to give you one tip. So if you prepare last 5 years PYQs properly, questions will come from them itself. On average, you will get 270 to 280 marks. And if you want to increase it, it is based on your little more efforts. But on average, you have a scope of getting 270 to 280 marks in anthropology easily. Okay? And next one is, every year within rank 10, you will be having at least 3 to 4 anthropology rankers you can check, because it is the most commonly selected optional by toppers. And next one is, you have mentors, you have coaching. And next one is, as I said, you will be getting direct questions from PYQs itself. Okay. And next one here is, there is obviously overlapping with your GS. So in which subjects we can see overlapping? Now you guys tell me, what are the subjects in your GS? Okay, you have history next. Subjects in your GS, tell me. Science and technology. Subjects in your GS. Polity, geography, economy, environment and ecology, Indian society. Next, internal security, IR, ethics, governance. Come on, next. History. Yeah, disaster management. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And you have essay also, right? Paper 1. So in all these subjects, there is overlapping. You can get directly essay from anthropology. So in 2022, there was essay, that is culture and civilization continuation process. So there was an essay. So if you're good at anthropology, even you can use that knowledge of anthropology in writing an essay for sure. Okay. And next one is history. So in history, especially ancient history, you know, right? So you'll be studying about prehistoric period. We have Stone Age, right? In that Stone Age, what are the different divisions that we do? Paleolithic period, Mesolithic period, Neolithic, Chalcolithic, IVC. So till IVC, again, what are the things that you study there? Like what are the sites, what are the excavations, who did that? So what are the things that we identified there? Everything again you will be studying here, copy paste, same maps, everything. So there is overlapping with your history. And next one is, in science and technology, you will be studying your basic biology part. What is cell, what is DNA, what are the cell organelles, what is protein synthesis. Yes or no? You will be studying about genetics and genetical disorders and biotechnology. Especially, you will be having the same biotechnology here. So there is overlapping with your science and technology. And next one is, in your polity, you will be studying about scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and certain articles, National Commission for Scheduled Caste, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. Can you recall all those? We have Panchayats, we have PESA Act. So same thing will reflect here in your paper too. So again, there is overlapping with your polity. And next one is society. So what is our society? How the marriage is happening? And next one here is, how are the group of the people they will meet, and how exchange of products is happening. So return gifts. If you go to any marriage, we'll be getting return gifts, and we'll give some gift, and again we'll call them to our functions. Why? They have to give the return gift again. So like that, what is happening in our society, we'll be studying about that. And next one here is, I think you might have studied about Varnashrama systems. Yes, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha. Yes, and you might have studied about karma, rebirth. So everything that you will study in your society, caste system, dominant caste, so caste, lower caste, everything that is the part of society, again you will be studying that here. And next one is ethics. So here, if you go and if you see any tribal people, do they are similar to our culture? Do they have similar culture? The dressing style, the eating style, the food habits, and the way they are living entirely, which is different from ours, right? So if you go there and if you kick them off, is that right? No, right? For example, if you are a district magistrate, if you want to do any developmental activities in that area, you have to show compassion, you have to show tolerance, everything, right? So the concepts that you will study in your ethics again will reflect in this anthropology. How you have to behave with these tribal people. And these so-called anthropologists, they'll go to these places of these tribals where they live and they do field work there. Okay, so in that field work, how they have to behave and how they can give the information. So if any unknown person will comes to you and if they ask your mobile number, will you give your mobile number? No, right? As an outsider, if we go to their place and if we want to collect data, will they give that data? No, right? So how we can make them to mingle with us? What are the steps that we have to take them to understand our way of style and their way of style? Everything will study. Okay, that is part of your ethics. And next one is governance. What you study in your governance? Role of NGOs, role of SHGs. What are the policies of the government? What are the schemes government came up, right? And everything will study regarding these tribals. Okay, so in this way, these subjects have overlap with your anthropology. So mostly whatever you study in your GS will recall. For that, we'll add some case studies, some anthropology study and some data. That's it. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 subjects have overlapping with this anthropology. So that you can use this knowledge even while you're answering your interview questions. So how many of you know about interview? Stages of examination. You have prelims, mains and interview. After clearing prelims, you will be writing your mains, morning 3 hours, afternoon 3 hours, continuous 6 hours, no rest to your hand, you have to write. No rest to your hand, no rest to your brain. Okay, you have to face that situation for sure. And after clearing prelims, mains, you will be having interview. So to attend interview, you have to go to Delhi. And there, how much time they will ask you the questions on average? Any idea? They'll say 20, but it will go to 35 to 45 minutes. So if you are the first person for that board, then you can imagine. So which kind of questions they'll ask. And do you have any idea like which kind of questions they'll ask in interview? Okay, DAF. DAF means detailed application form. So in that DAF, which kind of questions they'll ask? Okay, they will ask questions on hobbies. Next, your educational status. Next, if you have any job experience, if you keep there, so they will ask about your job, what you did there, what is your role. And next, so anyone, can you tell me your school name? Anyone? What's your school name? Anyone? Huh? JP High School. They'll ask about questions regarding Jilla Parishads. So even you have to prepare about your school name. For example, school name, some schools will be having names based on our freedom fighters. Do you know this? Sarvepalli, like that. Or a Sri Vivekananda Vidya Mandir. So if you have that kind of names in your school or in your inter or in your degree, whatever it may be, they'll ask questions regarding that. You have to be very much clear about what was the role they played in that. Okay. And next, they will be asking questions regarding situation based. For example, you are a district collector. You have posted in that so and so area. You have this kind of dilemmas. So what kind of action that you will do? Okay. So that is from this anthropology again itself. Okay, so even if you are not from anthropology background, you will be getting questions regarding anthropology in your interview, guys. So for that, if you take this anthropology as your optional, then it will be very, very easy to handle that kind of questions for sure. Okay, yeah. So this is about why you have to choose optional, that is anthropology. And how many of you know about this paper pattern? Paper pattern of optional. Optional paper pattern is different from GS. Do you know this? So in GS, how many questions you will be having in general studies? You will be having 20 questions, right? In that 20 questions, do you have any choice? You have to answer each and every question. And what is the marks? 10 marks and 15 marks. First 10 questions will be 10 marker and 11 to 20 will be 15 marker. In how many words you have to write this 10 marker question? 150 words. How much time you have to take? 7 to 8 minutes. What about this 250 words? Answer how much time? 9 to 10 minutes you can take. Okay. And you have to write each and every answer. There is no choice. But in optional, you have choice. So I'll explain how this paper will be and later on I'll go to syllabus. Clear? Okay. So either it may be paper 1 or paper 2. So you have two sections. Section A will be there and section B will be there. So in this section A, you have 4 questions. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in section B again 4 questions. 5, 6, 7, 8. Students, if you want, please make a note. Nowhere you will get this. Okay. So in this first question and 5th question, they are compulsory. There is no choice in this 1st and 5th. You have to write that for sure. And here you have 5 sub questions: A, B, C, D, and E. All are 10 markers. Okay, so you have 2 sections, 4 questions in each section, 1 to 4 in section A and 5, 6, 7, 8 in section B. And here in this 1st question and 5th question are compulsory. You have to write that for sure. There is no choice. And in this you will be having 5 sub questions, 10 marks for each question. That means you have to write answer within 150 words. And here this 5 also same. A, B, C, D and E, 10 marks each. And here how they will give question, just they will give word in the syllabus and you have to elaborate on it. So whatever you know, you can write here. Okay, that is the leverage you have. Just they will give word in your syllabus. And next one here is you have 3 questions and 3 questions, right? So in this you have again A, B and C. So one question will be 20 marker and remaining questions are 15 marker and 15 marker. All will be having in this format. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th and 8th we have ABC. One question is 20 marks, one question is 15 marks and another is 15 marks. So each question carries 50 marks. Each question carries 50 marks. How many questions you have to answer now for 250? 5 questions, right? So in these 8 questions you have to answer only 5 questions. That means you have choice. Okay, first question is compulsory. This 5th question is compulsory. And in this remaining 3 questions you have choice. But you have to ensure that you are writing at least 2 from each section again. Okay, you have to write 2 questions from each section and remaining 1 question you can write either in section A or section B. So totally you have to write 5 questions. So this is the question paper pattern. So same for paper 2 also. Same for paper 2. And how these questions will be divided in this section A and section B. So if you see your syllabus, how many chapters in your paper 1? I said no, 12 chapters are there in this paper 1. And paper 2 just you have 9 chapters, right? So first 1 to 6 chapters comes under this section A. Again, you can choose which chapter you can study. Like what you did in your BTech. How many of you are from BTech? Only 5 chapters. Your exam done, only one night out. If you did only one night out at that time, and if you scored 80% or more than 80%, if you're doing hard work every day, can't you crack this exam? Yes or no? You have that much capability, but you are alone underestimating your capability. So just one night out, 90% also you got, right? Is it possible? Only one night out, just 5 questions, 5 chapters. You did that. Why can't you do this? If you do that kind of serious, effective preparation for 1 year, you have that ability to crack. But always the people around us will underestimate our own capability and will blindly believe them that I may not capable, and we ourselves degrade ourselves. Okay, don't do that. Okay, so 1 to 6 chapter you will get section A, and remaining 7 to 12 chapters you have section B. And what about this paper 2? 1 to 5 chapters are there in this section A, and remaining 6 to 9 is your paper, this section B. Okay, clear? Okay, now open your syllabus copy. Everyone, do you got your syllabus copy? Okay, so done with this. Done? Shall I change the slide? Online students? Shall I? Done? Okay. So now open your syllabus copy and see your 1 to 12 chapters. So first chapter will be like basics, nothing will be there in that. So what is anthropology, what is the scope, and what are the different branches of anthropology, everything that you will be having in your first chapter. So actually the order we will follow in our course is second chapter, after the third chapter, next fourth, fifth, after that seventh, eighth, next will be your sixth chapter. I'll tell what is this. Okay, next will be our 1.4 and we'll complete entire first chapter, and next will be our 9, 10, 11th and 12th. So open your syllabus copy and open this paper 1 and open second chapter. Open second chapter and see what are there in that. Okay, shall I read it out? First one is culture, 2.1 is culture, 2.2 is society, 2.3 is marriage, 2.4 is family, and 2.5 is kinship. So there are 5 subtopics in your second chapter. Okay, so in this also we will be starting our first class with marriage. Very, very interesting. Okay, what is marriage according to you? What will come into your mind when I say marriage? Apart from this thing, getting a partner, dowry, especially from this side. Next, expenditure. Let us keep that aside. In our classes, we can talk about it. My classes will be like very jovial. You can directly interact with me, and mostly I'll show videos and I'll give mostly the names of movies. Mostly names of movies. And anyone are there here who are good at watching movies, Telugu movies, old movies? I want help from you guys for sure. And I'll give lots of examples of movies. And I'll show very, very interesting videos. You can't imagine about that videos also. Very, very entertaining class. And in the class itself, you can understand every concept. Okay, so why? Okay, so what is this marriage? It is nothing but union of two people, mostly opposite gender. Mostly nowadays, homosexual marriages are happening. So keep it aside, and even girl is marrying girl. It is happening. And even recently in Instagram, have you seen one woman from Gujarat? I guess she celebrated second anniversary of her marriage, marrying herself. That will be there, and we'll be seeing that kind of very interesting things what are happening in our society. Okay, so what is marriage? Marriage is nothing but union of normally two opposite genders, male and female. So after marrying, what happens? Our family will become extended or not? Now boys, they have to take care of girls family also. So mother-in-law, father-in-law, wife's sister, wife's brother, their families, family. So after marriage, what happens? Plus one family, buy one get one free after marriage, right? And after family, again we have to give certain names to that people, right? Can we call wife's mother come here, wife's sister come here? So we'll give certain names. They'll become our relatives, right? Mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law. They are nothing but our kinship. Okay, kinship, right? And what happens whenever we are doing any function? What happens? These all people will form a group. What is this group called as? Group of people is called as? Yes, society. And each and every society will have their own. Are these reflecting in your syllabus? Check it once. 2.3 is marriage. 2.4 is family. 2.5 is kinship. 2.2 is society. 2.1 is culture. So in this way we'll discuss. This is our first chapter, and we'll complete it in like 5 days, not more than this. Each and every one day we'll complete one topic. Okay, online students, any doubts? Ma'am, for online we haven't received syllabus. I will be posting soon. Okay, this is your second chapter. And see, third one. Economic organization. What is economy? Economy is related to what? Production of goods, distribution of goods, consumption of goods. So can we survive without having food? So how we can get food? By doing some activities, right? So earlier, if you go back, do we have any jobs? Do we have any industries? If you go to early man period, what was their economy? How they used to get the food? Hunting and gathering. So first one is hunting and gathering. So who will do hunting and who will gather? Hunting will be done by men commonly. And what is about gathering? What we'll gather? We'll gather seeds, we'll gather fruits, we'll gather tubers. Especially tribal people are very good at this thing, gathering of things, right? So yes, hunting and gathering, it's okay, very good. They'll go and they'll hunt whenever they are hungry. They'll go and they'll hunt and they'll bring the food, and they will. Sometimes they will eat raw. Sometimes they'll cook. Sometimes incomplete cooking. We'll be seeing videos, okay? But whatever it may be, the first economic activity started by humans was hunting and gathering. So after that, do we get animals or do we get fruits in every time, every season, equally in every place? No, we have to move forward for searching of animals, searching of fruits or vegetables or whatever it may be. So later on, what they did was they started rearing of animals. Yes or no? They started rearing. What is this called as? Pastoralism. Have you heard this word? Pastoral people. Pastoral people are nothing but people that depend on rearing of animals, rearing of cattle. Pastoral. So after that, what they started slowly, not agriculture. Okay, so these people, they used to hunt, they started this rearing of animals. What these people, women especially, they started gathering. So they can't find food every time. Then what they do? starting of sowing seeds. Okay, what are the food they brought? What are the seeds they are getting from the fruits? They started sowing. Especially they started sowing of fruit seeds first. Fruits and vegetables growing is called as horticulture. Yes, horticulture. Horticulture. And after that, they started growing grains, food grains. Like examples, anyone? Barley, wheat, rice, jowar, etc. What it is called as agriculture. And after agriculture, now we got raw material for industries. So now what happened? Slowly they started industrialization. So now we are in this era of industrialization and machine learning, and now we are even using AI. So in this way, economic organization started. Clear? So first hunting and gathering, later on pastoralism, and some people they depended on even fishing. There are certain communities dependent on fishing also. Fishing, pastoralism, horticulture, agriculture, industrialization. Now we are in industrial revolution 4.0, and now you are using AI and machine learning. So how this economic process had been evolved, and which communities are doing which kind of economic activities. That is your third chapter. And see what is your fourth chapter? Yes, political organization. What is this political organizations is about? What do you understand by this term? Simply tribes. Political organization, social control. So actually, which kind of political organization we have? We have democracy, we have state. We are electing our own representatives, right? So do these elections happens in the simple societies like tribals? Do they do? Do they have EVMs? Do they have ballot papers? Do they have police to control these elections? Nothing. That means the political organizations will be different to these tribal people, right? So based on these tribes, which kind of political organizations we have? For example, in tribes also, like 10 to 15 people, they'll form small groups. In that, they have bands. So have you seen this movie Shvetanagu? Very old snake related movie, Soundarya movie. So in that, there is one head of that tribe. Actually, it is about some tribes in Nallamalla area, right? So in that, we have one Dora. His name is Dora. So he is nothing but the political authority of that. So like that, in different kinds of tribes, we have different political organizations. For example, in your syllabus, you can see band, tribe, chiefdom, state. State is advanced level. Now what we have, that is democracy. That is advanced level. So we have to see how these political organizations have been started from this economic stage to this economic stage. And here how they are controlling the people. So each and every society have their own rules, own norms, own regulations, right? If someone is not following that, they should be get punished, or else we can't maintain social order. So which kind of punishments we have? So we have formal and we have informal. So formal is nothing but we have judges now, we have court system, and we have police. Okay, we have Nyaya Shastras, right? Earlier we used to have IPC, CRPC. Now that had been replaced by this Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Okay, like that. So all those are formal. But what about this informal? So recently, 2 days ago, I said one article in Odisha, in one tribe, so there was a relationship between man and his paternal aunt. Actually, that relation is not allowed in that so and so society. So because of this, what they did? They were forced to plough the field. That means they have punishments. And even they fined 1,000 rupees. And apart from that, they were sent out of that village. That is called as Bahishkarana. Normally in Telugu, you'll call it as Bahishkarana. So like that, which kind of punishments we have in these tribal societies? Because they are not that much developed as we do. So their system is very different. So how? We'll be studying about that in your fourth chapter, that is political organizations. Is that clear? Online students? Okay, and see fifth chapter, what is it? Religion. Very, very interesting. So what is religion according to you? What is religion according to you? Sharing? Same culture, not exactly. What is religion? What we do? Okay, if I say this word religion, what will come into your mind apart from this prasadam? I know prasadam will come firstly. Apart from this, what will come into your mind? Same ideology, okay? Believe in God. Okay, what is God? What is God? What is God according to you? Huh? What is God? What do you think? Come on, speak it out. He is a creator and destroyer. You're talking about Brahma. Apart from that, Om Namah Shivaya, Vishnu. Who are they? We created them, right? We created, yes or no? Have you seen this movie, PK? Hindi movie, PK. What is the concept? Huh? He is alien, but there is one little bit about this God, how human create the God. Uh, so just he will bring one stone and he will apply kumkum, paspu, everything, and just he'll keep some money and he will just go there and he'll just worship the God, worship that so and so stone and he'll come away. And after that, you can say next day, from next 3 to 4 days, there is a very huge line before that so and so small stone. Have you observed this? Can you recall this kind of incidents? That means humans created this God, right? So why? Okay, do we need God? For what? For what? Huh? Come on. You have to express your ideas. That is for sure. Tell me. He is a protector. Okay. So what happens if there is no God? What happens if there is no God? The God is very important because it will create some sense that someone is looking. So we will at least try to stop some crimes because of this God. We will able to behave. So have you seen? So if you go to temple, which kind of dress will you wear? Will you wear shorts and will you go to temple? Then traditional wear. Why you will be wearing traditional wear? Rules. Did anyone say that you have to come to temple only in traditional wear? Did they wrote anywhere? Huh? It is about fear, right? So you have to go to this area only this time. And actually, when this Abhishek comes, we'll be doing in the temples, normal in the early mornings. Why? They want to create a discipline of waking up of early, or else we'll wake up at 10, 12, even 1 also nowadays is going on. Yes or no? Yes or no? So you know this word, have you heard this Brahma Muhurta? What is this Brahma Muhurta? What is the timing? 3:45 to 5:30. So why you have to wake up at that time? What is the reason? Everyone will say that you have to wake up at that time, then only your mind will be very active. Uh, at that time, God is free. Yes, mind refreshment will be there, and if you study anything, you can remember it for a long period, and even no one will be there to disturb you at that time. Yes, that is the reason actually. Okay, so what is magic? What is religion? And what is science? Is there any difference between these three words? Magic. Magic. What is magic? Black magic, white magic. Have you heard this? What is black magic? Very interesting topic. Shudra Puja. What we'll do? We'll do any harm or we'll do harm through this black magic. Okay, is that real? No? Yes or no? Will you believe it? Black magic? Yes? How many of you say yes? Raise your hands. Nothing will happen. What is white magic? Have you heard this word white magic? If there is black, there will be white. No. Then what is white magic? Huh? It is used for the sake of good. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So I will tell one simple example so that you can understand what is the difference between magic and religion. So magic is nothing but taking control of this supernatural powers. So have you seen this movie, Nagarjuna movie? Heroine will be Anushka. Damarukam. So in that movie, at last, what is the climax? You can see one wheel. In that wheel, air will be there, water, five things will be there. No, that means your supernatural powers. When we are controlling that panchabhutas, that is called as magic. Then what is religion? So if you know that we can't take that into our control, then we'll go to God and say, if I clear UPSC, I will strike 100 coconuts before in front of your temple like that. That is called as religion. We will surrender ourselves to that powers. Okay, magic is nothing but we'll take control of that powers. If we know that we can't take that into our control, then we'll go and we'll surrender and we'll say, if you do this favor, I'll give this corruption. I'll corrupt you. So we'll indirectly corrupt this God also. We have that much ability. Humans have that. Yes, it's happening or not? How many did this? In your 10th class or intermediate or in your IIT JEE. So if I clear this examination, I'll give this gift. I will offer this gift in your hundi. Yes or no? Tirupati hundi, very, very famous. Yes or no? That is called as religion. And what is science? What is science? Is there any difference between religion and science? What is that? So have you seen this? Especially there will be some babas. They will be removing this shivalingas. And even very, very hot oil. They will be removing budgets from that. So have you heard this or have you seen this? So is that a science or religion? It is science. So what happens in this? I'll give you an example. So normally this babas will be removing budgies, hot budgies in this hot oil. So actually before keeping hand, they will keep their hand in cool oil and then they'll keep that. So it will take some time to transfer of heat. So within that time, they'll take this budgie out. So people will believe that, wow, he is having lots of powers and we have to offer him so that he will make lots of magic and he'll do something good for me and my family. Like that, people will go blind people. Okay, so we have magic, we have religion and we have science. These are the things we'll see in your religion. And again, we have to see about evolution of religion. So how many of you know about this IVC? IVC, Indus Valley Civilization. You know, right? So in Indus Valley Civilization, the people used to worship which god? Mother goddess? Yes, they started first worshipping of nature. Nature worship. Okay. And after that, during this Vedic period, new gods evolved. Have you heard this? Indra, sun god, Usha is also there, one god. And next, different gods. That means they started worshipping of many gods. What is the term called as? Many means poly. Religion or worshipping is called as theism. Polytheism. First, they started nature worship and later on polytheism. That means they started worshipping of many gods. And after that, what happened? Islam, Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Jainism. They started worshipping of single god. Single is called as mono. Worshipping is called as theism. So in this way, religion has been evolved. Nature worship, many gods, single god now. Okay? And next, you will be coming across certain words. Okay, open your syllabus copy and see here animism, animatism, fetishism, naturism, totemism. Can you see these words? Last but one line. Okay. So what is animism? Huh? Animism. You can divide this word. Anima. Anima is nothing but soul. So have you seen movies, especially Arundhati movie? Have you seen this? In that you can see Pashupati will become devil and come, and he'll be walking on this roof, and suddenly he'll come, suddenly he'll go, disappear. That means they'll represent soul. It is moving, right? So whenever you worship souls, it's called as animism. I'll tell you one example here. So there is one tribe, I can't recall the tribe name right now. So actually what they believe is this animism. So what happens during delivery? Have you know about how this normal delivery process will happen in humans? After 9 months of gestation period, so normally the pains will happen and normally vaginal birth will happen. At that time, women need lot of support. Other women will be helping in this process. Actually, in that tribe, what they do is whenever any woman, she is in that delivery time, they will build a small hut-like thing, and what they do was they'll keep that delivery woman at that period of pains in that hut, and they'll tie hands and as well as legs in that hut, and they won't, anyone will not interfere in that delivery process. That woman, she itself has to deliver her baby. Why? Because they believe that souls will help in this delivery process rather than humans. So because of that, what happened? Women will die and even baby will die. So because of this, in tribals especially, there is more maternal mortality rates, more infant mortality rates, more case of infections. So this is called as animism, worshipping of souls. Have you seen normally in our present society also, especially on the day of the death of that so and so person, we will be cooking some food and we'll be offering that. Do you know this tradition? It is also worshipping of souls, our ancestors. So normally in Telugu states we have this Petramasa, that is nothing but on this Batkama festival. Normally we'll do this. Normally in Telugu we'll call it as Peddalaki Pedutunnamu. Like we are cooking food and we are offering for our elder peoples. So we are worshipping souls in our present society also. This is one example. And next one is animatism. Second word is animatism. Animatism is nothing but worshipping of supernatural power. Supernatural powers like devils. We'll believe in devils. And have you ever seen, especially in rural areas, we'll be having amulets, tayathuluntai. Why? Especially they will tie these amulets for elderly children. Yes or no? Have you observed this? So they'll believe in supernatural powers. Some devil will come. Jaram వచ్చింది, like గాలి వచ్చింది. So like that they will do that. And have you observed, especially women, whenever their menstrual period starts, so there will be certain liminality. They will do some rituals. In that rituals, actually this girl who is in her first menstrual period, they will be keeping aside. So whenever they are keeping aside, they will be placing one small wooden idol. Have you ever observed this? Yes. In why they'll keep that? Because supernatural powers, to stop this supernatural powers to attack that girl. So what happens is whenever woman is in her menstrual period, so blood loss will happen. So whenever the blood loss is happening, so devils will attract to this smell of blood. So because of this, they will have this tradition of keeping a wooden idol in their rituals. So lots of reasons are there here that we'll do. We'll see normally, but we don't know the proper reason. So that we'll study in this anthropology. Okay, what is the next word? Fetishism. So how many of you give fund for this cows? Anyone? Fund for cows. How many of you offer puja for this Tulsi, Tulsi plant. Do you know Tulsi? So every house will have this Tulsi and everyone will be offering puja for this Tulsi. And if you see cow, they'll go and they'll apply this sindoor and they'll go and they'll do their rituals, everything. Yes or no? And even in some temples also, they will be having separate funds for this maintaining of cows. Gokul funds like that. Goshala like that. So here we will be having very much attachment to that so and so animal and so plant, and we'll start offering puja for that. That kind of religion is called as fetishism. Okay. And next one is naturism. You know about this naturism, right? Yes or no? Naturism. We'll worship our nature. For example, Pushkaralu. Have you seen this Godavari Pushkaralu and Krishna Pushkaralu? So what is happening here? We'll go and we'll pray in the water, everything. And sometimes what we'll do in this Kartika Purnami, on this day also, we'll go and we'll lit lamps and we'll leave it, we'll leave that diyas in this water. So everything will worship nature. Okay, that is called as naturism. And this one is totemism, very important concept. Totemism is nothing but every clan have their own religious symbols. Okay, religious symbols. They are called as totems, and they will worship it. Have you seen this movie Butterfly? Butterfly movie, crime investigation movie. Heroine is Anupama Parameshwar. So in that you will see about this totem. So actually they pray to this so and so tribal god, and they will be having this tattoo on this hand. So by seeing the tattoo, that case will be investigated and they find that who is the culprit, everything. So whenever you're watching movies, just don't blind watch the movies. So why it is happening, everything. So you can learn lot in these movies, guys. But even though they will add some masala, that thing will be there. But actual concept you have to see. I learn a lot by watching movies only. I'll watch at least 2 movies per a week, whatever it may be, whatever the busy schedule I have. And that too, very interesting, crime related. And how many of you watched this Hit 3 movie? Hit 3. So what's that movie? So we'll be getting lots of things from that Hit 3 from your anthropology, especially from your biology part. Actually, in that Hit 3 movie, what they'll do is they kill the people and they will steal these 3 important glands in your brain and they'll store. So we'll be seeing about that glands, everything in our classes of 9th chapter. So there again you have to get this. Okay. Yeah, that is about your religion. You will be studying about what is religion, so how this religion had been evolved and types. Okay, and next one is magic, religion and science. This is your next chapter, religion. And the 6th chapter is about your theories. There are 12 theories. In every option you will be having a lot regarding theories, but in anthropology only you have just 12 theories. And it's very easy to mug up. So I'll give you one example so that you can understand how these theories will be. So in these theories, the first one will be classical evolutionism, right? Right? So what does this classical evolution says that every culture was developed in their society. For example, American culture developed in America, European culture developed in Europe, and Indian culture developed in India. So there is no exchange of culture. This is classical evolutionism. And what this second one, diffusionism, says is, no, culture started in Africa. And from Africa, it diffused to different parts of the world. That is called as diffusionism. So like that, we have 12 theories. And why only Africa? Do you got this doubt? Why these people are saying why this culture started in Africa? So can anyone tell me which river is there in Africa? River Nile, right? So whenever we are having this kind of rivers, will it start civilization or not? Normally civilization starts on the banks of the rivers. So because of this river Nile, it led to the conditions which are favorable for starting of civilization. So these people says that yes, civilization started in India, in this Africa along this Nile river, and from here it had been diffused. Do you know this word diffusion, osmosis, that you have studied in your science? What is diffusion? Spreading from high concentration to low concentration is called as diffusion. What is osmosis? Low concentration to high concentration, right? So here there was a rich culture in this river Nile region. This is nothing but higher concentration. In other areas, no culture. So from this area, it had been diffused to other parts of the world. Okay, that is called as diffusionism concept. So we will understand what is this theory says and what are the studies which had been done by this anthropologist. Okay, this will be very easy, not that much tough. You can remember in the class itself. Like that, we have 12 theories. Yeah, and see the next one, culture, language and communication. Culture, language and communication. Okay, what is language? What is language? Huh? What does language includes? What will be there in language? Sounds. Okay, next. Do we have sentences? That means we have certain grammar that we have to use. We need to have words. Language does not include script. So whatever you're talking. So while you're talking, so will you understand if I'm talking in any other things like Italian or French? You can't. Right. So we need to have a proper grammar, proper sentence formation, and easy way. It is nothing but whenever I want to express my feeling, I have to communicate with you. What is that medium? That medium is called as language. Okay. So I want to ask you one question. Do early men have any language? Did they talk to other people? So how they used to communicate? By signs. Can you tell me some examples? Yes, tell me. Can you tell me an examples? Kantara movie. Okay, guys. I how live in culture mortality. Okay, online students. Yes, tell me. What is language? How they used to communicate? By signs. Okay, I will tell you one example and you will be surprised. So how this earlier man, they used to communicate, even certain tribes called as Hadzabe tribes. I will be showing documentary in our classes. There is one tribe called as Hadzabe. They will be present in Africa region. And whenever they are talking, they use signs even today. So do you know this Bahubali language? What is that language? Kiliki language. So in that Kiliki language, they used to use this sound like that, no? So even today also in this Hadzabe tribe, they will use this sounds in between whenever they are talking. Okay, so we will be saying about how this language got into existence. Okay, so whenever you are not feeling well, if someone comes and asks you how are you feeling, what will you say? Nods, and you'll do one more expression. You'll give one more expression. What is that? So whenever you are in extensive pain and pressure, normally you will say some sound, like that. Have you ever observed this? Someone will call you and say, "Yendra mustodu muginnattu moogutunnavu." So have you heard this? So whenever you are in extensive pain and whenever your body is not supporting you, you start making some sounds. Through that sounds, our language got evolved. And even have you ever seen like whenever small kids they are learning how to speak? So how will they speak? How will they speak? Have you ever observed? So first they start imitating the things. If you are showing this dog, we'll say bow bow. Cat, meow meow, meow meow is coming. So like that, we'll start imitating others. Yes or no? And have you seen, whenever they're growing up, they'll start imitating others also. If what father is saying to the mother, the same thing they'll imitate. Have you seen that? Even today also we'll do that. We are perfect in that imitating. But we started that from very early age. So how this language came into existence? We have lots of theories like Baobab theory, Tata theory. Okay, so we'll be having around 12 theories we'll be studying. Yeah. So that is about your language. And next one is, have you heard about this non-verbal communication? Verbal communication. What is verbal and what is non-verbal? What is verbal? What is non-verbal? Verbal means speaking. Next, assent. Have you heard this word assent? What is assent? Assent. Assent. Slang. Okay, next. Whenever you are speaking, you have to maintain certain slang, and as well as the speed of spelling that thing, everything. So everything comes under verbal. What about non-verbal? So if you go, and have you have any experience of attending any interview so far? Interview? Yes. So how will you behave in interview? Confident. How can you feel confident? When you will feel confident? Acting. Don't do that in UPS. Don't act. They will know whether you're acting or not. So tell me, what is non-verbal communication? Body language, very good. Dressing style, huh? Eye contact, very good. Next, facial expressions, confidence. Huh? Okay, so they are non-verbal communications. So is this non-verbal communications important or not? Why? Why non-verbal communications are important? Yes, it speaks about your inner personality. So we'll be studying about all those things. Very, very important, because if an anthropologist who is outsider, if he goes to any area and if he wants to study these tribals, this is very, very important. Yes or no? How they are treating them, how they are talking with them, how they are behaving with them, how much distance they are maintaining. We should not say that, Chichi, you go there. You didn't have the bath. You didn't dress well. You don't have chappals. You are eating meat raw. You should not say all those things. So, for this, non-verbal communication is very, very important, guys. Okay, have you seen this movie? Hey, what is this movie? Kubera. New movie. So in that movie, what is the story? They'll bring these beggars and they will convert as shell company owners, and they'll do black to white, everything they'll do. So whenever Nagarjuna hero comes, how these beggars will feel? They'll feel comfortable. Why? So the way the communication is. Yes or no? In the same way, if an outsider who is coming to these tribal areas, so how they have to behave. That comes under this non-verbal communication. And even that non-verbal communication is very, very important in your interview. So how you are giving answers, how your eye contact is. Okay, everything. This is about your language. Any doubts till now? If I go on saying, I will speak for continuously 4 to 5 hours. Okay, any doubts, guys? Have understand about what is anthropology? And in tomorrow's and day after tomorrow's class, I'll complete entire syllabus overview for sure. Okay, is anthropology interesting or not? Is anthropology interesting? Yes? Is it boring? Have you learned some new things in today's class? Or you felt like I waste my 1 hour of time? No? No or yes? No. Actually, our GS students, they're already tired. So they are sitting in the class from 2 o'clock onwards. 2:30. Morning also 1 hour in my current affairs class. Okay, so I think you got some overview like how you have to read anthropology. So in tomorrow's class, I'll tell you the book list of anthropology, and as well as how you have to prepare anthropology to score more, and how you have to write answers, and I will be seeing the remaining topics. Okay, And the day after tomorrow's class, I will be discussing about entire this paper too. And after this demo classes, we are going to start our actual batch from 25th onwards. And normally the class timings will be evening only, not in the morning sessions, evening sessions. And one more thing is, in this course, I will be covering each and every nook and corner of your syllabus, because already I gave you a syllabus copy, and every time I will be asking you to check your syllabus, whether we completed all the topics or not, so that you will know whether we are completing the syllabus or not. And in tomorrow's class, I will show you the blueprint of anthropology, how the questions are coming, and whether the questions are there in your syllabus or not. I will tell each and everything. And next one is, in our course we have daily answer writing practice. So daily I will be giving you at least one answer, and you have one question, you have to write answer, and you have to evaluate your answers. Like, you have to bring that answers to me, so that I will be evaluating your answers. And every weekend there will be test of that week syllabus, so that at least we will be doing revision, at least twice revision will be done in this class itself. And material, I will be giving you daily handouts, and after this course, by the end of this course, you will be getting printed material also. So because of this, there is no need of purchasing any material in the market. Okay, yeah. And next one is, I will be also giving you blueprint. Like, if you have this blueprint, okay, I'll show you the blueprint, how it will be, so that you'll be getting idea. So this is blueprint, like from each and every topic from 2013 onwards, how many questions came and how many marker question it is. So that you can expect, like, which is the important topic, and you can also expect in next year from which area the question will come. This is called as blueprint. So from this topic there is no question till now. From this topic every year more or less we are having question. Okay, like that, this will be the blueprint, and I will be giving you this blueprint in this printed format by the end of your course. And next one is, I have previous questions. Okay, I have previous questions of last 25 years from this anthropology. I will be also giving you that printout, so that you can identify the questions from where UPSC is asking, and UPSC will not ask question beyond that for sure. And next one is 5 years of previous questions, that is from 2022 2024. I'll be giving you the question and answer format in printed form, so that if you by heart that, then you can easily get about 280 marks in your final examination. So all these things that you will get if you join this course case. And we are also providing you the early bird offer. If you join before 20, offline course cost will be just 30,000 and online will be 20,000. And for online, we are not going to give any material, we'll give only soft copies. Okay, that will be there. Yeah, any more doubts, anyone, regarding anthropology? So please, if you have any doubts today, so please make a list. And tomorrow, when you come to the class, so I'll be starting with your doubts, or else at the end of the class, I will take up your doubts. Okay, clear? Have you understood at least what will be there in this anthropology? Some idea? All students, any doubts so far? Language is nothing but barrier. Ma'am, there is only one batch. Yes, I will be running only one batch. Anushri, I will be running only one batch. So online students, they can submit answers on WhatsApp. We will be creating a group. Shreya. Shreyas, we'll create one group, there you can submit your answers. Or else we'll try to post the material, Shreyas. Don't worry about that material. So online students, any doubts regarding this anthropology in today's class? And if you have any doubts, guys, please contact me on this number 8074. Online students, if you have any doubts, please contact me on this number 8074765513 on WhatsApp. Ma'am, please keep one eye on online students. Okay, sure. So whenever I'll start my class, that will be there for sure. I will be sharing material. Don't worry, Shivlal. Okay, shall we leave? So tomorrow class timings the same timings from 6:30 to 8 p.m. for 3 days. After that, normally the class timings will be like 5 to 7:30 or 6 to 8 for outsiders. For insiders, you don't have any problem. Polity అయిపోయిన తర్వాత కదమ్మా. Polity will be done by 30. 30 will be last class. And sir said if it is possible, we'll complete by 28 or 29 so that you'll be not having any problem. For that first 3 days, I will be adjusting the times. మీ పొట్టల మీద ఏం కొట్టను. నెక్స్ట్ సబ్జెక్ట్ ఎకానమీ 9:30 to 1:30. ఆన్లైన్ స్టూడెంట్స్ వీళ్ళు రారు కదా బయట వాళ్ళు. ఈవినింగ్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ. So anthropology, anyone who are going to any coaching centers outside? Do you have any classes outside? Anyone? 1, 2, next. What's your class timings? 2 to 4:30. Yours?
Sometimes 10 to 5.
10 to 5. It should be evening only. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for attending. And outsiders, please give your names and number in this reception. Okay. Thank you so much, guys.